Summer officially arrives on Friday evening at 10:42 Eastern Time. The summer solstice can occur on June 20th, 21st, or on rare occasions the 22nd. Over the next few decades, it'll be split about evenly between the 20th and the 21st. Now, on the summer solstice, the sun's direct rays are as far north as any time of the year over the Tropic of Cancer, and north of there, the midday sun is as far above the horizon as it ever gets. Of course, at 10:42 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, midday will be on the other side of the world, and here's where the sun will be directly overhead at that time in the western Pacific, south of Japan. 15 hours later, around midday on Saturday, the first full day of summer here, the sun will be directly overhead at a point in the Gulf of Mexico, southwest of Key West, Florida. Now, nearly all of Pennsylvania sits between about 39.7 degrees latitude on the south and 42 degrees on the north. So the state is north of the Tropic of Cancer by anywhere between about 16 and 18.5 degrees latitude. So the highest the sun can get above the horizon in the state, known as the maximum altitude, is 90 minus those values, or between 71.5 and 74 degrees, depending on where you live. We can use this idea to compute the maximum altitude on any day of the year. You just need to know your latitude and the latitude at which the sun is directly overhead on that day. We'll call those L and D. Just compute the angle between those two latitudes and then subtract it from 90 to get the sun's maximum altitude. And as an example, let's look at State College on the equinoxes, the first days of spring and fall. State College is at 40.8 degrees north latitude, and on the equinoxes, the sun is overhead at the equator, 0 degrees. The angle between those two latitudes is 40.8. You subtract that from 90, and you get 49.2 degrees. And that's the highest the sun gets above the horizon on the first day of spring and the first day of fall in central Pennsylvania. Now back to the summer solstice. The word solstice comes from Latin and translates to sun standing still. To see how that applies, let's track the maximum altitude of the sun over the course of the year. And I've done that here for State College. Notice that in the days around the summer solstice, there's very little change in the maximum altitude. For example, the difference between, say, June 1st and June 20th is only a degree or two, a change you wouldn't really notice, giving the impression that the midday sun is standing still in the midday sky. It's a much different story around the equinoxes. Look near the first day of spring in March. The angle of the midday sun is changing much faster from day to day. In fact, the sun's about 8 degrees higher in the sky at midday on March 20th than on March 1st, a difference you definitely would notice. One consequence of the high sun angle this time of year is long daylights, and indeed nearly all of Pennsylvania has more than 15 hours of daylight right now. How much of that will be sunny this weekend? Find out in the extended forecast next.